Aloha, everyone. Hope you're having a glorious day. If you have hung out in Christian circles, no doubt you have heard, love the sinner, hate the sin. Except, is that the true character of the God of the Bible? Well, here's something from Psalm 5. Certainly, you are not a God who approves of evil. Evil people cannot dwell with you. Arrogant people cannot stand in your presence. You hate all who behave wickedly. You destroy liars. The Lord despises violent and deceitful people. I'm pretty sure God hates the sin and the sinner who commits the sin. Here in Romans, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. Whoa! Okay, so let's figure out what's the difference between why God hates the sinner and what's different about someone like Jacob. Well, in order to do that, we have to dive into the character of God. So the character of God is truth and justice. So truth and justice is only part of the story because God is also mercy and grace. And our response to truth and justice could be rejecting or repenting. And our response to mercy and grace could be receiving or rebelling. This comes together in the historical person of Jesus. So let's dive in and find out what the character of God is. God is the standard to measure and understand truth, the law, the way things are. And God created us to live with Him and gives us attributes of God like self-determination, a free choice to create, to love, a mind to fully appreciate a relationship with God, to understand truth. So the value and responsibility of choice is relationship and obedience or rebellion. Without choice, God is just hanging out with a bunch of robots programmed to obey Him. A sinner is the person with a choice against absolute and infinite truth and justice. So the picture God gives for sinners is they are dirty. And when they come in contact with God, His perfect creation, and others, sinners make those good things of God dirty. We sinners cannot remain in truth and justice if we ourselves choose deceit and injustice. Any attempt would result in the just consequence of our sin, which is God's wrath. So think about it logically. God without truth and justice, well, that would not be a very good God, would it? Who ever heard of a superhero who didn't go after bad guys? There's plenty of examples that exist of God's wrath. The character of God, God's nature of stopping evil. Think about the flood. Think about Pharaoh's army, the Egyptians that were drowned in the parted sea. Think about in the desert, the golden calf worshippers, or Israel who conquers the depraved Canaanites, Jebusites, and Midianites. And then Israel themselves who become sinners. God allows Assyria to conquer Israel. God allows Babylon to conquer Jerusalem. Now God is patient and does not destroy the sinner immediately with His wrath. God provides an invitation to avoid His wrath. God's character of mercy and grace, it abounds in the Bible, like clothing Adam and Eve with the first animal sacrifice, like saving Noah and his family in the ark, like Moses leading God's people to the promised land. So how about the sinners in the desert who looked on the snake that was raised up on a pole? The character of God is correctly stopping evil. Wrath is a characteristic of a good God, just hanging out with any children of parents who never punish their children, and you will quickly understand just punishment, just correction, putting a stop to evil, that's a great thing. Wrath for sinners is God's design. God's character never changes. We see the same wrath of God in the New Testament. Turn to Acts 5. Ananias and Sapphira, they dropped dead after choosing to deceive God. Is that a seeker-friendly church that was started in Acts? Should we as the church send a message to the world? If you choose to follow God, He will require you to change anything in your life by following Him. Stay as you are. God is a good God who will put the world right. Wrath is His way. God is holding back His wrath to extend an open invitation to all sinners, of which I am one. And thank God there's His free gift to receive, which is Jesus.